Before we start today's episode and begin the chat with my guest today, I want to tell you about the 5-day free program that I have ready for you. We start on June 3rd, that it's all about healing your metabolism, understanding where you are on this burnout recovery spectrum, learn more about hypothermic amenorrhea recovery, overcoming food obsession and exercise addiction, and how to actually get your metabolism responsive again. So if you think that your metabolism has slowed down because maybe you've been overtraining, maybe you've been under eating, or maybe you've been stressing out your body in different ways, this program is absolutely a must do for you, because if you're like me and have suffered from burnout, metabolic damage, and obsessive food and exercise behaviors, you really want to learn what are the things that you have to do to start feeling better. And in this program, I will teach you the tools that tell you how to understand where you are on this spectrum and what are the next steps that you should be taking. So if you are interested in this program, I'm going to put the link in the description of this episode. Please sign up there. We start on June 3rd. And now let's get started with our show. Hi, my name is Kersten Kimura. Welcome to the Balanced Vibes podcast. If you're ready to quit the black and white approach to health and fitness, this is the podcast for you. There's no room for extremes and all or nothing thinking. We are here to talk about real health, sustainable diet and fitness, positive psychology, and spiritual growth, helping you become your own biggest superfan. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, know that I'm not a doctor. The content in this material is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding your health. Also, all the resources mentioned in each episode are available in the episode description. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. My name is Kersten, and today I'm here with my guest and my pain recovery coach, Christina Way. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Kirsten. Thank you for having me.
Sure. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay. So everybody, I wanted to bring Christina on because she has helped me in a very major way. Some of you may know that I suffered from low back pain, chronic low back pain for a long time. It started in 2017, around August or so. And of course, what do? You go see a bunch of professionals who you think that help, and some of them did. But honestly, my pain came and then, went away for a long time, a little bit, and then it got a little bit better until I met Christina through our mutual friend, Ron, who is an acupuncturist. And this is where things changed for me a lot, because now, after working with Christina about 3 months, I think it is, my pain is the least that it has been. It's not completely gone, but it's definitely so much less of it. This morning I did box jumps, which, you guys, I have not done those in forever. So Christina, why don't you tell us who you are? What is exactly that you do?
Yeah. So my name is Christina Way, and as Kirsten said, I am a chronic pain health coach. Not a whole lot of people know what a chronic pain health coach does, but I guess I'll try to say in a nutshell, it's essentially someone who helps people who have chronic pain understand and learn about the mind-body connection so that they can heal themselves. And it usually takes a few sessions to really get deep into sort of a clear understanding of what goes on in a person's life that affects their pain. And this is something that has been proven to work, but is not very widely known. Mm-hmm. So I don't do any hands-on work or any kind of diagnosis or treatment, which is common among all health coaches. But I can help people really actually find the right resources and the right information to heal themselves.
Mm-hmm. So what is your main tool that you help people with?
I would say it probably is education, because we all have sort of been brought up here in this Western part of the world, sort of thinking about our pain in terms of only the physical, only the muscular, and only the structural, because that's kind of how we treat it. But pain, when it's chronic, and I'm not talking about acute pain or pain that has, a cause such as cancer, or as physical injury. I'm talking about pain that has gone on for more than 6 weeks, and it can be intermittent or it can be constant, but it is something that should have healed a long time ago, because the human body can heal itself within 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is pain often goes on for much longer, and the reason we have that kind of pain is because we've kind of learned it. So it's a matter of unlearning that pain that
Mm-hmm.
has to happen, and so it's a matter of education. You've got to both unlearn your pain and learn to not be in pain, learn how to heal yourself, learn how to take care of yourself on many different levels in order to get out of that pain.
Mm-hmm. That is so interesting. And I think if there's somebody who's never heard about it, they will be now like, wait a minute, you're saying, what are you saying? You're saying that my pain is not a physical, it's mental. Is that what you're saying? How would you answer that question?
So this is the biggest problem that I think, this is one of the biggest barriers. There are many barriers. And one big barrier is that people, when they hear about the importance of the mind and the role the mind plays in their pain, they immediately jump to thinking, oh, you just labeled my pain as being imaginary.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying it's all in my head.
And therefore I'm a crazy person, right?
Right. I mean, we make that leap,
Yeah.
and it's not that. Your pain is absolutely real.
Yeah.
It's real pain. There's nothing not real about it.
Yeah.
And I know, I had pain for many, many years, and it was about as you can't get more real. I know that you can't get more real than the kind of pain I had, and I know that, Kirsten, your pain was absolutely real. So no one's saying it's imaginary.
Mm-hmm.
What we are saying, though, is that it's not something that can be cured at the physical level.
Mm-hmm.
It has to involve the mind as well as the body. But mostly at this point, you've done everything you can with your body because you've tried everything to heal yourself, and it hasn't worked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essential to look at what factors are affecting the pain and keeping it going. And usually it's fear of the pain, stress that's going on in your life. And those are the two major things. Stress that has happened in the past. So both past and present day stress, and simply fear of the pain itself. But I mean, what all those have in common is fear, is some sort of fear, some sort of stress, some sort of tightening of the, nervous system.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so true. So we're probably going to talk about also about Dr. John Sarno, whose work, I think your work is based on largely on his work. So what he says in his book, The Mind-Body Prescription, is that there's a certain personality type that tends to get chronic pain that is caused not by physical injury or a cancer or any of those truly diagnosable things, right? But caused by our mindset, the way we think, the fears we've had. So who is that typical person who comes to you and has this typical syndrome?
Yeah, you put that really well, Kirsten. I think You got it, by the way. You've got you. I think that yes, uh, there is a certain personality, and Dr. Sarno found that the type of people that walked into his office and were two types in general: perfectionists and goodists, people who had to do things perfectly, who were very hard on themselves, and also people who really wanted to please others. And that also carried a sense of being hard on yourself. So a lot of us are like that. And my clients, I find what's really interesting is that my client, I'm lucky that I have clients that almost never are never late and they never cancel on me because they're very, very responsible. They're very conscientious. They really want to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they're perfectionists. They
Right.
don't want to let you down.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's got to be done right. But what that does is that causes enormous stress on the person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enormous tension in the body because of that stress.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. I think listeners, because there's a lot of women in my audience who are the typical overtraining person, the typical dieter, the typical like body obsessed person who is also very perfect in all the other areas, you know, best grades in school, great jobs, things like that. And then a lot of times we think that this is the, you know, of course we have to do these things. There's almost like there's no other option. Of course we have to be perfect in everything. And I remember from my experience when I was severely overtraining, when it was my plan, just to give an example, to run 60 minutes, 58 minutes would not do it. So it had to be 60 minutes. Or if I had like decided that I'm going to eat X number of calories this day, then I could not go over by 10. That was a disaster, right? So like these are a couple of examples of, I think, with what my audience can resonate really, really well. And this like, you know, there's all kinds of different areas in your life where the perfectionism and also the people pleasing shows. You know, I never want to harm anyone. I take on more and more responsibilities, and then no matter what I achieve, I'm still super, super hard on myself.
Right.
And so would you say that this is a typical pattern, how this type of pain that you are talking about is kind of created?
Absolutely. I mean, all those things that you just mentioned, being so hard on yourself in so many ways, and you can't even slip one little bit, or you can't be at your top absolute, it's really hard. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of tension. It's a lot of constant, you know, it's vigilance that creates that kind of tension. And Dr. Sarno's whole theory is that constant daily tension creates so much muscle tension that it actually affects the level of oxygen going through your body. Now, what we have learned is that it might be more complicated than that. Because what we are now understanding is that there's something called a learned neural pathway. And that is essentially your pain learned. So it's not 100% clear what the science is, but it's very clear how to heal. So the learned neural pathway is, I guess you could say it's like a different way of describing it, but it works the same way because it's a matter of pain that's in your body, which is not because of structural reasons, but is something that your nervous system, when it's really amped up, kind of creates. So it's like your brain creates this pain when you're really stressed out. And if you're stressed out all the time, then it's very possible that you will be in pain all the time. So if you've got a sense of, I can't let go, I have to get this right, I have to do this, I have to be like this, I have to be this kind of person, I can't just relax, I can't get into the parasympathetic recovery mode, I'm always in the sympathetic mode, then it's really hard for your uh, nervous system to be calm and to get out of this fear pain cycle, because that's what the learned neural pathway is. It's a fear pain cycle. The fear of the pain uh, causes the pain to remain, and then the pain causes fear. So you can just continue to be in this cycle. And sometimes because your system is always in sort of a fear alert level, because of, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to get this done, I got to get that done, that your body just can't let go, and can't let go of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an association that your body makes between pain and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you have any kind of fear about anything, not just the pain, but about anything that could be going on in your life, the pain can come up.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you share with us, what are the typical pains? What have you seen people have? Is it only a back pain? Like mine was lower back pain, mostly on my right side. Then, interesting, it started moving around. All of a sudden, it's in my left butt cheek. And then all of a sudden, it's a little bit higher in my back. Okay, my problem was back. Where else do you see it? Or is it just one area? Or is it all over the body? Where can
It's
you show it?
all over the body, and that's amazing. First of all, that is amazing that your pain moved around, which
Yeah.
is a really amazing phenomenon. Lower back is a really, really common place for people to carry tension. And since there are no good, there are no good therapies out there, people just tend to come in with lower back pain. But there's knee pain, there's foot pain, there are migraines, there's neck pain, there's shoulder pain.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulder pain's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
You name it.
Yeah.
That's like almost the whole body there. There's upper back
Could be
pain, right?
anywhere.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Facial
Yeah.
pain.
Honestly, you know what is really interesting for me? So my pain started, like I said, 2017 August, and then it went on 2018, 19. When did I think we started like 2020 early this
Yeah.
year. We started
Right.
working together.
Right.
And by the
Right.
time we started working with you, I actually had developed other pains too, but they were
Yes.
like, I didn't know what they were, and I didn't know there's a connection. But where I had pain was my left front of my shoulder.
Right.
I had sometimes occasionally tingling in my left hand and left foot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then interesting, I started feeling like my lower abdominals, kind of where my ovaries are. I
Mm-hmm.
started feeling a lot of pressure. And I remember telling my husband, like, I feel like I'm like a balloon down there. There's something. And, went to see a gynecologist. Everything was normal, but there was a lot of pressure. And I was like getting more and more miserable. I was like, what is going on with me? Like, why am I developing this all over my body? And then this is when we started working together, and these pains, my back pain is still there, but my arm and hand pain is like, now it's so very, very rare. Over the course of 3 months, I think I've had it twice now. And now I've kind of started to put them together with what just happened. What may
Mm-hmm.
have caused my body to tense up so bad that it sent me a signal
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, relax a little bit, or
Mm-hmm.
you're getting stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like how it can move around in your body. It's amazing. And what I've
Mm-hmm.
understood from reading the book and learning from you is that the pain moving around in your body is one of the kind of most common signs that this truly is the mind body issue,
Right.
right?
Right. Because it doesn't make sense
Mm-hmm.
that if it were structural,
Yeah.
then why would one knee get it? And then why, first of all, why would it come and go? Because
Yeah.
did your, cartilage or whatever heal all of a sudden overnight? And then did it
Yeah.
go bad again the next day? Or I mean, and then why would both knees get it sometimes?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's actually a really clear sign, is both knees, both arms.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were to have an injury in both, that's that doesn't seem very likely, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fascinating that it can move around your body. I mean, that's really amazing. And I feel like it's hard for people to accept
Mm-hmm. So hard.
that this is mind body. It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Mhm.
example, and especially when somebody had an x-ray of their spine and they come back with this result that, yeah, you have a bulging disc, therefore I have this thing,
Right.
and now they have a back surgery, and then which helps for a month, and then the back hurts again. um
Right.
there's another book, David Hanscom's book, I think he said,
Yeah.
I don't remember the percentage, but was it around like 70-80% of people who get back surgery, their pain comes back. And now you have had this invasive surgery,
I
which
know.
always comes with some kind of side effects,
I
right?
know. I feel like that's such a tragedy.
So how would you help somebody who is like, sure, that no, my doctor said that I have a bulging disc, I need a surgery, and this, what you are talking about is
Mhm.
nothing. What would you say?
I would actually present them with the hard evidence
Mm-hmm.
that there is no correlation between bulging discs, herniated disc degeneration, disc.
Degenerative disc disease.
Thank
That's
you.
what you mean?
D
Yeah.
D D D. Right.
Yeah.
Um, Spondylothosis.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole list of diagnoses
Yeah.
uh, where there's no clear evidence, not even a correlation. I mean, not even, so there's no relationship at all between these, what Dr. Sarno calls normal abnormalities. They're gray hairs of the spine. For example, bulging disc appears in on many people's x-rays, whether or not you have pain. So there are people without pain with all kinds of stuff going on in their spine, all of those things that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people with pain who have perfect looking spines.
Right.
I have data. I mean, I have reports, articles, journal articles, news articles that I give people because it's not coming from me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the science.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my actually, uh, I know someone who is a spine surgeon who has said to me that he routinely sees people with really scary, really scary symptoms. For example, I can't get up, I can't walk,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get out of bed, and my legs just, I'm paralyzed. But their MRIs are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is just crazy. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I have somebody who I've actually tried to tell about this. Let's call it the TMS, because that's what it's called. We have to have a name for it. So
yeah,
it's a
TMS, right.
tension. How does it go? Tension
There's
myositis
tension
syndrome.
myoneural syndrome, but actually there are uh, many terms for the same thing
Yeah.
because I think people are converging. They're coming to the same conclusion in different areas of the world. And so TMS is one way of calling it. You can call it mind-body syndrome. You can call it psychophysiologic disorders. It's been called central sensitization syndrome, which is very common. The Mayo Clinic uses that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there are, I think, a couple more, but those are some major terms for it. Learned neural pathway syndrome, neural pathway pain, neuropathic pain. I mean, it's just really,
Mm-hmm.
really everywhere. Everybody has a different term for it, which indicates to me that we're all kind of waking up to it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
kind of independently,
Yeah.
but coming to the same conclusion.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so good that people are waking up and considering that this could be an option. And I
Yeah.
remember my first or second session with you when we talked about it, and I asked
Yes.
you, so if this is so common, how come people don't know about it, and how come the surgeries are so popular instead of this diagnosis? And
Yeah.
you told me that because this doesn't make money. And that was like I was like, oh yeah, it's so true,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
this literally, like buying a $13 book and getting a couple of coaching sessions
Right.
is way cheaper than getting a spine surgery.
Yeah. And the cost isn't even out of your, it's not even the monetary cost. It's also,
Yeah.
what are the side effects down the
Oh God.
line?
Yeah.
Those are the worst, you know?
Yeah. And the constant
So, I mean,
disappointment loop that people go through if the surgery didn't help. And now they need another one and another one. By the way, I've never asked you, do you know about Joe Dispenza?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And how he
absolutely.
healed his spine, right?
Yes,
Through
fascinating.
thinking, mindset work.
He was paralyzed, I
He
think,
was
right from the
paralyzed.
waist down.
Yeah.
And oh yes, he's a fascinating
Yeah.
person.
And
Yeah,
he too, like all he does, like all he did, he changed the way he was thinking. A lot of
right,
meditation, and now
right,
that's what he's teaching other people
right,
do as well.
right,
So
right.
it is absolutely fascinating. And
It is.
yeah, I think the hardest part about this TMS or whatever you want to call it
Yeah,
is to get people to accept that this is really the thing.
right, right,
So okay, you said
right.
that you show people data when they,
Yes.
but do you still feel like you sometimes have to like keep convincing them that you do have this, or when they have so much resistance that like I'm not going to believe it, you just say, okay, my work is done. I'm going to leave it until you come to this conclusion yourself and come back. What do you do?
I used to still try to convince people.
Yeah.
Um, but I think every person is different and you have to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell myself one thing that helps. It is that, first of all, even if it feels like nothing is being accepted, I'm planting a seed.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when that person is ready, they'll probably, you know, something will come up, and maybe something I said will be helpful to them in the future. Maybe not now, but maybe in the future. You
Yeah.
know, and oftentimes it's an accumulation of knowledge before someone realizes, aha, this
Mm-hmm.
is this is the path to
Yeah.
healing. This is the way to heal. And I mean, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Mm-hmm.
So if the student's not ready, then, you know, it's just not the right time.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
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 So what is the, I'm putting air quotes, treatment for mind
Oh,
body syndrome?
so it depends on the person. Um, well, first of all, the most important thing is to learn about what your condition is and accepting the diagnosis. Um, there, uh, eh, there are a number of ways you can go about it. So, um, I think one thing that you can do is first try to take the fear away from the pain. And, you know, if you can do that, that sometimes helps immensely. You know, somebody realizes that, whoa, you know, actually I have back pain, but there's nothing wrong with my back. It's not broken. If I move it, I'm not going to make it worse. The pain does not hurt. Hurt mean not that it's not painful. What I mean is it doesn't hurt you physically. It's not going to make your back worse. In other
Worse.
words, right? It's not going to like ruin a muscle or a joint or something like that. So the pain is harmless. Maybe that's the way to say it, because that's what Dr. Sarno would say. The pain is harmless. And so you kind of stand up to that pain. You say, "Go away." You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm not afraid of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way of going about it. And you know, another way is to you know, kind of take a look at what's going on in your life right now. Are you under a lot of stress? Are you hard on yourself? um, you know, what is it that's maybe not quite right, not quite balanced?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are also some people who have suffered trauma, emotional trauma in their lives in the past, and that also sometimes hasn't been fully processed, and it's something that needs to kind of be accepted, you know,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledged, and then
Mm-hmm.
let go of. And all of that can be done, you know, through journaling, through talking with other people, and it depends on the person how they want to address it.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, I find
yeah,
like journaling is so helpful, and I like
yeah,
the to have like specific journaling kind of cues or like topics for the day
yeah.
that I've been using during the program. And
Uh-huh. Great.
like I've shared with you in our sessions, I've had a couple of very intense ones where
Yeah,
one time
yeah.
I just started crying like really strongly. I was listening to some music and I was journaling, and then there's a song that really triggers me to cry, and I'm generally not a crier, which might be part of the issue. Like I'm not a crier. I just don't cry in
Wow.
general. I just
Yeah.
almost like can't get my tears out. And then
Uh-huh.
this one time, it was amazing. And I started hearing very loud, like all the negative adjectives that I have for myself, listening to this song and just bawling like crazy. And I like, as this happened, I would almost like feel my back getting lighter.
Oh my
And the
gosh. Yeah.
same night, my back was so much lighter. The next day, it was much lighter. And then, yeah, sometimes it comes back, and
Mhm.
sometimes it comes back really strongly.
Yeah.
But then, let's say
Hmm.
the baseline level stays higher the whole time. And of course, I'm like nowhere near in this pain where I was. But
Hmm.
yeah, like
Hmm.
the journaling, and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
doing the structure program was just so
Yeah.
helpful.
That is amazing. You had such really strong breakthroughs. I
Yeah,
mean,
I've had
that,
a few for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could feel immediate effects from
Mm-hmm.
that, which
Yeah.
is incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say I was able to benefit from all the tools that I kind of just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And the education is one thing that Dr. Sarno says. Pretty much, that's all you need is education.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, that works. But for other people, they need a little more guidance with regard to the journaling and the emotional work that
Mm-hmm.
often is the most helpful. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I did the journaling like you did. I did a whole 6-week program of guided journaling, which is on the tmswiki.org site, which is a free service, which is a peer-run service, which is really excellent.
Yeah.
Um, and I also just benefited just from reading a lot about what TMS was. And when I first had a huge breakthrough, it was it was when I was just reading about how this was even possible, that you
Mm-hmm.
could even use your mind to heal yourself. And as I was reading that article, uh, I started feeling better. I had I had um, I had pain and tension in my upper back at that time that just never went away. And so I read this article written by this guy who said that he was telling his pain to go away. He was just saying, pain, go away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you right now. Just leave. And I thought, well, could I do that too? And I did, and it just started to melt. And I was just shocked. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was like the beginning. So I can pinpoint that as the beginning of my recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And that was several years ago. And it's just, you know, it's just, I've never turned back. I've never turned back. Now, does that mean I never get pain? No, because I'm a human being and I have emotions. Because if you accept that your pain is essentially one way your emotions show up, then you're going to have pain come up every once in a while because you're a human being,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't expect to not feel sadness or anger or
Yeah.
you know other
Yeah.
things throughout your life. But what you can do is not let the pain put you down, not let it continue. You can deal with the emotions without feeling the pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I shared the whole thing, how it has worked for me, and the whole idea of the mind body connection and syndrome, with somebody that I work with. And
Yeah.
she
Uh-huh.
said, but I don't like, but it's so hard to do the journaling work, and it's so
Yeah.
hard to like admit the feelings. And I was like, yeah, it does suck. It does suck. But like, what sucks more, like being in
Right.
this pain, or just like
Right.
working on yourself. There's so much value other than
Yeah.
other than getting rid of the people,
Oh,
just getting
so
to know
true.
yourself. Yeah.
It's growth as a human being.
Mm,
It's the most fundamental growth as a human being. and
yeah.
and you're absolutely right. Actually, the reason Dr. Sarno would say that the reason the pain is there is to keep you from going to your emotions. That's
Mm-hmm.
precisely what
Yeah.
what it's trying to do. I mean, you could even think of your pain as sort of some kind of another person with this motive, which is,
Right.
I'm going to protect you from that bad stuff. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
protect you from it because I'm going to give you physical pain so you don't have to feel the emotional pain, because
Yeah.
the emotional pain is too scary.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but if we face our emotional pain, we realize, you know what, it's just an emotion and it can't hurt me. Again, it's harmless.
Yeah.
Although one reason why we don't go there is because we're afraid. And that's natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
scary to see our own demons sometimes. And
Yes,
we would
exactly.
rather not admit that they exist. We would rather be like the same
Right,
client of mine. She said, but I have to do this and I'm gonna like
right.
I'm never how is it like I've never showed my feelings because that means I'm
Yeah,
weak and I'm just gonna power through it. I'm like, this is
yeah.
exactly why you have this pain.
Right,
Just like
right,
maybe
right.
consider like doing
Yeah,
the work instead of hoping that
yeah.
another pill or something would fix it, because
Right.
it just can't fix that. And of
No,
course,
it
that's not
can't.
to say, like you said in the beginning of this interview too, that you got to make sure that it is not like
Right,
injury caused. There can be actual physical, but we are not saying here that
right,
no
right.
physical injury can cause you pain.
Right,
Absolutely it
right,
does. Yeah.
right, right. No, absolutely. In fact, that's the most important thing. In fact, I remember you were going to go get some tests done, and I was telling you that's the right thing to do, because
Yeah.
you've got to make sure that it's not something that is structural or physical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that, for the majority of people who are listening to this and who probably have chronic pain, um, you probably have had those tests, because that's usually the first thing people do.
Mm-hmm.
And and the reason that the pain hasn't gone away is because it's not something that's structural that can be handled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, what would be a couple of resources where you would tell people to go to check out if they
Yeah,
think that they might be that person whose pain is
yeah.
caused by this?
Right. Okay. Well, I mentioned the tmswiki.org
Mm-hmm.
site, which is really, really helpful. It's totally run by volunteers. It's a peer run organization, and has tons and tons of information and resources that's completely free of charge. And there's also Dr. Sarno's books. Any of his books, The Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno is probably the foremost classic. Um, those are two places you can start. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm actually going to put up on my website. I think I'll put a bibliography up on my
Mm-hmm.
website too, for my clients and anybody else who's interested.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the two major sources
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
I would recommend.
Yeah, and what, reading other people's success stories is incredibly helpful. It
Yes.
just
Yes.
reaffirms that yes, like if they were
Right.
able to overcome it, I can overcome it too. I would also
Absolutely.
add the movie All the Rage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
How could I forget that? Yes. Michael Galinsky, All the Rage.
Hmm.
It's on Vimeo and Amazon, I think.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
were really nice actually. For when the coronavirus
Yeah.
started, they actually came
Right.
because I think they saw that it may start um like more pain in people because of the amount of stress, so
Yes.
they actually gave
Yes.
it for
They
free.
did. He
I
gave it
don't know
out for
if it's
free
yeah, I don't know if it's
for a
free
couple of
anymore.
weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not sure if it
I
is.
think at least for a couple of weeks he had it
Right.
for free. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. um
That's excellent. That's really fun.
yeah, and it's
Mhm.
easy to watch, and it's a great
Right.
movie.
Right. Right.
So Christina, if somebody is interested in working with you, how can they do that?
Yeah. Well, they can go to my website, ChristinaWayHealthCoaching.com. That's Christina is spelled ChristinaWei healthcoaching.com. So it's
Mhm.
kind of a long
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to put it in the
website. But,
show notes
oh,
that
thanks.
everybody can find it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you would like to add to?
I'll take the opportunity to tell everyone to be good to themselves. Be good to yourself, no matter what. Just, if you're in pain, don't feel bad and worried or scared, and like there's no way you can get out. You will definitely be able to overcome your pain. We're not meant to live in pain.
Hmm.
We're
We're
really
not.
not. We're
Yeah.
not. And so you deserve to live a life without pain. and you can. It's possible. It's totally
Absolutely.
possible.
Yeah. And that, just don't accept it. Just don't
Right.
freaking accept it.
That's
Like,
right. No way. Don't ever give into it. You can heal. You can heal.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, I first do, and I think I even told you that when we started working in February, January, what it was, I was almost like, okay, I think I can't do anything about it anymore. I'm like, I'm 35 and I have had back pain for 3 years, and that really sucks. And of course, if I have to live with it, I find my way around, and I still figure out how to do my favorite thing, which is working out, like everybody knows. And then but then, like, I was getting closer to giving up, and now I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna give up.
Yeah.
Even if
Good
it
for
takes more
you,
work, it's
Kristen.
gonna take more work, because I'm not there yet. I'm not where I want to be, but it's nice, a good opportunity to use this perfectionist mindset, be like, okay, I'm in charge of this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that's the other thing, is a lot of people, because they're perfectionists, they try too hard to get rid of it. And then that in itself becomes a source of stress. It's like, oh my God, how come I'm not, perfect?
Oh yeah.
Why am I not, So it's just learning layer upon layer of acceptance.
Yeah, that's why I think the structured program also on the TMS wiki website, they have, and they also have like built-in like rest days. Like everyone knows, working out, you got to take rest days.
Yes.
Also with journaling, take rest days, and because they say you can overdo that one too.
Yes, you can.
Right?
I know. Yeah. They know our personality all too well.
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of data.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Christina. I'll make sure to put all
Sure.
the information that we mentioned in this episode in the show notes, so everybody can go and check it out. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Balanced Vibes podcast. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and also leave a 5-star review on iTunes. For more about me, check out my website, urbanjane.co. Yes, that's CO and not com. And connect with me on Instagram, where my username is Kirsten Kimura. That's KERSTENKIMURA. Until next time.